At the jeweler selling my grandmother's brooch, he examined it and said, "The insurance claim says this burned in a fire last year. My grandmother raised me after my parents died when I was 6. She passed away 3 months ago, and I found the brooch in a jewelry box in her closet. Vintage Art Deco with sapphires and tiny diamonds arranged in a peacock design. Medical bills from her final hospital stay were crushing me, so I took it to Fisher & Sons, the jeweler she'd always used. The owner, Mr. Fisher, had known my grandmother for 30 years. He greeted me warmly, then examined the brooch under his loupe. 20 seconds later, his face went pale. "Where did you get this?" "It was my grandmother's, Eleanor Hayes. You knew her." His face went pale. "Eleanor's grandson, of course." He set the brooch down carefully. "I need to make a phone call. Please wait here." He disappeared into the back office. I sat there confused, watching him through the glass as he spoke rapidly on the phone, gesturing at something on his computer screen. When he came back out, he had a printed document in his hand. "This piece was reported destroyed in a house fire last August. Your grandmother filed an insurance claim for $50,000. My stomach dropped. "That's impossible. My grandmother died in March. She would never commit fraud." The claim was filed August 15th of last year, 6 months before she passed. I stared at the paper. There was her signature at the bottom, her address, a police report number for a kitchen fire. There was never a fire at her house. I was there every week. I would have known. Mr. Fisher looked uncomfortable. "Insurance fraud is serious. I'm required to report this." "Wait, please. Something's wrong here. My grandmother wouldn't do this. She was the most honest person I knew. She once drove 20 minutes back to a grocery store to return a quarter they'd given her by mistake." He softened slightly. "I believe you, but the documentation is legitimate. The claim was paid out. Someone received that money. Who processed the claim?" He checked the document. "Liberty Mutual. The adjuster's name is here, Frank Dawson." I pulled out my phone and called the number listed. A man answered on the second ring. "Frank Dawson. Hi, my name is David Hayes. You processed an insurance claim for my grandmother, Eleanor Hayes, last August, for a brooch destroyed in a fire." Long pause. "I'm sorry, I can't discuss specific claims. The brooch wasn't destroyed. I have it right here." The line went dead silent. "Mr. Dawson, I'll need to call you back." He hung up. I looked at Mr. Fisher. That was weird. Very. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Mr. Hayes, this is Detective Lopez with the Fraud Division. Frank Dawson contacted us. We need you to come to the station immediately. Bring the brooch." At the police station, they put me in an interview room with the brooch and the insurance documents. Detective Lopez was this no-nonsense woman in her 40s who looked like she'd heard every excuse imaginable. "Your grandmother filed 17 insurance claims in the last 3 years, all for jewelry, all reported as destroyed in various accidents. Total payout, $340,000. My jaw dropped. 17? That's not possible. The money was deposited into her account. We have the records. Can I see them? She pulled up the bank statements on a laptop. Deposits ranging from $15,000 to $50,000, all from Liberty Mutual. But something caught my eye. The account number. This isn't her account. The last 4 digits are wrong. My grandmother's account ended in 4782. This ends in 4728. Detective Lopez leaned forward. "You're sure?" "I helped her set up online banking 2 years ago. I know her account number." She made a phone call. 3 hours later, I was still at the station when she came back with Frank Dawson in handcuffs. Turned out, Dawson had been running a fraud scheme for years. He'd target elderly clients, file fake claims using their information, but route the money to accounts he controlled. He'd change just enough digits to slip past automated systems. My grandmother never filed a claim, never received a penny. Dawson had forged her signature, fabricated a police report, and pocketed $340,000 using her identity. When detectives searched his house, they found a storage unit filled with jewelry he'd claimed was destroyed, including 12 other pieces that had belonged to my grandmother. Pieces I didn't even know existed. The brooch sold for $52,000 at auction after the case closed. The other pieces brought in another $180,000. After legal fees and paying back the fraudulent claims, I walked away with enough to cover her medical bills and keep her house. But the best part was watching Dawson get sentenced to 8 years in prison. The judge looked right at him and said, "You stole from the dead and nearly destroyed their legacies. I hope every day in prison reminds you of the lives you tried to erase." I kept the peacock brooch. Never sold it after all. Every time I look at it, I remember my grandmother exactly as she was. Honest, kind, and completely incapable of fraud. Just like I always knew.